Might as well go ahead and get started. Bruce, you want to do the roll call?
Yes, I can, Chair. Robert Hannon,
I'm here.
Richard Berlandi,
Here.
David Fox,
Here.
Robert Eisner,
Here.
Neil Kelsey,
Present.
Mark Simpson,
Here.
and Ned Thatchin.
Here.
All right. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Brick or Emily Brick, and Robert Canto. What's up?
I saw you, Bobby.
Yeah. Are you there? He's there. Maybe
I'm here.
there he is. Okay.
I knew I saw you. Okay, so we'll call the April 5th, 2023 Wetlands Commission meeting to order. First item on the agenda is FHI Studio, 95 Batterson Park Road.
Yep. And we have Phil Barlow from FHI Studios is here.
Yes, good
I
evening.
saw him too.
There we go, Phil. It's all yours. You want to update or just go over it a little bit quickly? Just kind of summarize it.
Sure. Well, as you know from our presentation last month, City of Hartford is renovating the park to get it back into use. And with that, we need to remove basically all the existing buildings. We've had David Quisenberry, our architect, look at them, and he's determined that they can't reasonably be salvaged. And so our permit is to remove those buildings, two of which are partially in the wetland setback, and one is in the wetlands. So they will be fully removed, including foundations. We're backfilled with gravel and then topsoil and seeded. Excuse me. I'm sure you've all seen the news that this site may become a state park. That's the current thought. But that doesn't stop our plans from moving ahead and getting this park open as soon as possible.
That's it?
Yes, we're good.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
All right, Rich, I'll start with you.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Bobby?
No questions.
Thank you. Dave?
No questions.
Robert?
No questions.
Thank you. Neil?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Mark?
Mr. Chair, I was not here the last time, but I reviewed all the information pertaining to the discussion last time. So I believe I'll be able to vote on this, and I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. Ned?
I just had one question. There's like the remnants of a beach area there. Are they going to be bringing in new sand as part of this to kind of refurbish the beach area, refurbish?
Not at this point. That probably will be part of our master plan, which we're working on, and then the phase 1 documents, and they'll be back to you, to this commission, to talk about any activities that are planned in that area. But so I would say yes, the plan is to refurbish the beach and get that back into use.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. I have a general question. What are you looking at sort of timing wise for the master plan to be coming in? I mean, you're looking at the summertime, you're looking at next year, just a rough idea?
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. We have some informal meetings coming up with town staff on the master plan. Honestly, would you want to see it in master plan phase before we get the construction documents?
Well, I
mean,
tend to look at
certain-
the more information we have, the earlier we got them, the easier it is to
True.
figure out what's going on. So from my perspective, it would be appreciated.
So yes, we could definitely come in for an informational presentation just to let you know what's in the master plan. But we do, to answer your question, we are going to finish that in the next couple of months. and then prepare construction documents through the summer and fall. So this is, fairly fast moving. So you'll be seeing a lot of us in the next few months.
Well, part of the reason I'm asking is because don't forget, we don't meet in August.
Okay, well, thank you for that. That's right. Okay.
So if you were planning on trying to hit August, there'll be nobody here to listen to you. I mean,
Okay.
staff will be, but we won't.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder. That is important. So we'll put that into our schedule.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. I just figured I'd try to see a little bit of the time frame on it. I mean, I haven't heard any issues from anybody, so I'm assuming that somebody like to make a motion to approve this application for the removal of these buildings in preparation of getting the site back to a format where we can come in with a master plan and see this park reestablished and people using it again.
Make the motion, Ned.
Here, excuse me, Chair, if you don't mind, there was only that one, condition of approval that we had in my notes regarding the installation of the straw wattle in addition to silt fence
Yeah.
that we had talked about at the last
Right.
meeting.
Right.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion with the note that the town's request for straw wattle be used.
Okay. Is there a second?
Dave will second.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor to approve the application and with the condition that the straw wattles also be used on site. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining. Good luck on it. It's a good project. Love to see
Thank
this
you.
put to good use again.
Appreciate it.
It's been a while.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, 228 Waterville Road.
Yes, we have Brian Cunningham, a professional engineer, on the phone here. Brian, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening, commissioners. We have a client owns the property at 228 Waterville Road. That's up closer to the Avon town line. There was a house on the property. From some notes I saw from Bruce's discussion, the house was removed back in 2013. Basically, the lot is 5 acres in size. There's 1.28 acres of wetland on the property. So there's a net area of 3.72 acres on the property. There, on the map that Bruce has in there, so got some coloration on it. Bruce, can you zoom in on that map a little bit?
Where do you want to go?
In
Oh,
the center, just where all the action's going on. Okay, stop there for a second.
there you go.
Okay. I'll start on the northwest corner of the property. The red line on that image is the limit of the 150-foot upland review. So it's essentially the whole property is subject to review by this commission. The proposal is to use the existing driveway location to replace a culvert that's under the driveway. Our surveyors, the town mapping, the GIS shows a culvert under that driveway, but our surveyors found no evidence of that culvert. So we just said, we'll replace that culvert with a suitably sized pipe. The old pipe, maybe it's there, I don't know. The wetland scientist was on site and saw no evidence of the pipe when there was actually some water collected in the to the north of the culvert. It was very shallow impoundment. They noted in their wetland report that's attached as Appendix B to the application. Let's see. The wetland scientist also recommended a wetland buffer planting which is right at the bottom of the Bruce's screen right at the moment. It's shown in green. That's a bunch of, I wrote it down somewhere, some wetland plantings to buffer the wetland from the house, the driveway, and all that. What I did, Bruce, you could zoom out a little bit now to try to get the property in view. I think that'll work for now. Bruce numbered the wetlands. Number 1 is the wetland I was just talking about, right in the center of the property off the driveway. It's a small area of 1,314 square feet. To the northeast of that is wetland number 2, which is a 288 square foot wetland, a different type of wetland than the first wetland. You can read the details in the wetland report. And then there's the larger wetland along the south and east property lines, conveys a intermittent water course to a 30-inch pipe which goes under Waterville Road, Route 10. I took the liberty of cross-hatching the wetland area of each of these wetlands to make them kind of jump out at you a little bit better than trying to find a thin line on a map. The area of wetland number 3 is 54,475 square feet. And then I'll just read a little bit from the wetland report. There's an intermittent channels along this wetland number 3, which conveys water, like I said, to that culvert. They noted it being as 3 to 5 foot wide, and the functions of that are sediment retention, nutrient retention, wildlife habitat, and higher quality. They noted that the area on the eastern portion, further from Route 10, Waterville Road, is the higher quality of the wetlands. And the conclusion that soil science came up with was that the house and yard will not have a direct impact on the wetlands, and that's on page 15 of that report. I guess unless you might have some questions, I can address those, but that's in a nutshell what they're looking to do on the property. The new house location is further to the north than the original was. The original was kind of near that note for where Bruce's hand's at.
And if we go here, and if we do this, I'll show you. Here's the aerials, and I think this was 2012, no, 2009. Yeah, you can see where the house used to be here.
Right, and the new
Your
location
house
is
is
to the north.
up in this area, more or less.
Yeah, a little further away from the wetlands.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right.
So, now we do show sedimentation control fencing with the wood chip berm to be used around the disturbed areas along the sides of the driveway and then across the frontage of the disturbance and then up on the north property line also. It'll be a private well septic system design, and we'll bring power and communication lines in from the street.
That pretty much summarize it.
Yep.
All right, Ned, I'll start with you. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, the culvert under the driveway that they couldn't find the existing. I can't make out the contour lines. Which way is that flowing? Is that flowing towards the wetlands or away or?
Flowing toward the wetlands.
Okay,
Yeah. South, from north to south.
and the septic system, it would be in the front yard,
Yes,
farther away from the wetland. Okay.
yes.
That's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Thanks, Ned. Mark?
So I have a question about, you said the house is gonna have no impact on the wetlands. Where it's situated, is it on, I'm trying to read this, is it higher ground compared to the wetlands? Or is it,
It's,
I assume it's higher.
it's lower than wetland 2, and let's see, you got 201, 200. It's about the same as wetland number 1
Elevation
So-
there.
elevation wise.
So if anything coming off the roofs of this house, where is that water gonna be directed to?
It goes to the front of the house.
Yeah, but maybe this will help. I've got my photos here. So this is the crossing at the driveway here, but the house is over here and the wetlands are
Yeah.
up in here. So everything pitches down
Yeah.
towards the
Down.
house. As you can see, though, I think like wetland 1 is right around there. All pitches this way. Same with wetland 2. And now we're up on top. I think I'm standing on a wetland 1 here. So it all drains down towards that. Same with wetland 2 up in here. All comes this way. So house, with the house being over there.
So, yeah, so anything discharged from the house would be working its way away from the
Down, yep.
wetlands?
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, okay,
That's
that's all I have
correct.
to ask. No more questions.
Thanks, Mark.
Mr. Chairman,
Neil?
can I interrupt? I noticed something in the photos.
Go ahead, Ned.
Is there, I see like a test well pipe coming up or something? Is that part of this study or was that already there?
That was probably one of the.
It looked like it may be
soil
this
Yeah.
location here.
That's a-
this,
Yeah, that's
I
a
thought I
perk.
saw, yeah, a pipe.
Okay. I saw that too. It looks like it's probably in the location of that per test 3. If you look,
Yeah, there it is.
yeah, if you go
And
back,
there it is again, yeah.
so if you look back at the beginning,
Okay,
there. So it's like up in here. So it looks like here's the driveway. So it's like right up in there, which I think is this location here.
okay, and so that was done as part of the soil study for this project. It's not there
For the-
previously.
correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
All right. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Neil?
Yeah, can you give me some more details on what's on the property now? You know, is the old house still there, foundation, septic
That's-
system, and what is being done to that as part of this project, if anything?
To my knowledge, the house and everything was removed back in almost 10 years ago. And I'm not aware of any records on our survey that picked up any remnants of that building or its support facilities.
Okay. So this septic system will be
Other-
brand new location, brand new location.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's all I have at this time, Brian.
Okay, thanks, Neil. Robert?
Because this is an existing residential lot, we have to allow the development So I think it comes down to reasonable precautions to protect the wetlands. The proposed house is actually further away from that wetland number 3, so the impacts over time should be less intrusive. I like the wetland buffer plantings that were already provided. And I think it's also a good opportunity to address the drainage along the roadway, since there's going to be a lot of disturbance of a lot. It's an opportunity to sort of improve, if there was a bad drainage situation, improve it now with a lot is being developed. And then Bruce, if you could, through the course of the development, just share our standard information about integrated pest management. If it's a new homeowner coming in, if they adopt more sustainable landscaping and lawn maintenance practices, it may be something that would go over the long haul. So I think with good soil and erosion control during the construction, the impact should be minimum. End of my comments.
Okay, thanks, Robert. Dave?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. The wetland reports noticed that there were no vernal pools, but 2 of those occurred in October, and one was in April, but that was back in 2015. I was going to suggest it might be good to, it's a good time of year to confirm that there are no vernal pools there, and if that had been considered or not. Also, the staff recommendations noted infiltrating the runoff from the roofs, at least investigate the soils for the possibility of doing that. I would agree with that. I guess that's it for now. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Dave. Bobby?
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Eisner. It's an existing lot, so we pretty much have to allow building. It's just a matter of making sure everything's protected. I had the same issues with the septic system. Apparently it's going to be in front of the house, so that's being addressed. Hopefully there is no septic system still there. Normally you take the house down and the septic gets forgotten about, but we'll address that, or they'll address that when it comes up. My concern that hasn't been brought up yet, that wetlands number 1, how are we going to protect that during building and after, so we don't have the same situation that we have coming up on another plan, and that happened recently to another person that was fixing his lot? How is that going to be addressed?
I believe the wetlands report implied that the buffer should be done before they do much of the site work on the property. There's not a lot of site work going on in that general area. It's more of creating a visual screen, so to speak, between the construction and the house and that wetland number 1. And our silt fence is north of the buffer. The driveway construction ends, to the northeast, almost of northeast of the wetland. So I think it'd be wise to direct that the buffer screening be done first, and then let the construction go from there with proper monitoring of the sedimentation erosion control measures.
Yeah, I would just, Bruce, before that gets started, just so we don't end up in the same situation we're already in, where somebody wants a little bit bigger yard, just make sure that's taken care of so that we don't run into that problem.
Maybe we could add some silt fence, or add like some orange construction fence.
Orange construction fence or something, just to stay out of that area. I mean, I think we all know where I'm going with this, and we don't want to end up in the same spot we're already in now with another one. Other than that, I'm all set.
Thanks, Bobby. Rich?
I think everyone's already asked the questions that I had, so I'm good. Thank you.
I've got a couple. About how much of the wooded area are you clearing to put the house and septic system in proposed location?
You know, I didn't run a number, but looking at the areas that I was looking at today, I'd say, well, put it this way, there's a 1/4 acre north of the red line. So maybe a 1/2 acre for disturbance for the
Yeah, here's
treat
a,
area.
this is, if
half,
this is,
3/4.
if this is 100 feet here, so
Yeah.
something like 100 by 100, you know?
Yeah, a 1/2 acre-ish,
Mhm.
you know,
Okay.
3/4 of an acre. I don't know, they're not gonna go down the slope any further than they have to, because it's a nice natural buffer to the street. Keep the noise down.
And then this kind of, I think it ties in a little bit with what Bobby was asking in terms of the buffering that is being proposed around wetland 1. I mean, the way I'm looking at the map, it looks like basically what that does is extends out a little bit the edge of the woods. So you're trying to use the existing woods as sort of a natural buffer. And that just would enhance it and keep things away from that particular area. Is that a good assumption?
I think it is, yes.
Okay. I agree with what Commissioner Eisen was talking about too. I think this would also be a good time to take a look at the drainage right along the street. You're going in with, I think it's a, what, 12-inch pipe? No, is it an 18-inch pipe or 12-inch pipe? I'm not sure.
It's an 18.
18.
Yeah.
So again, just to make sure that that area is properly draining sort of towards that pipe rather than towards the road. This would be the time that should probably be
There's,
addressed.
there's
and
a,
the other thing is that because of the location of the wetlands, we'd also be looking at the straw wattles or silt sock or whatever label you want to put on it to act as a buffer between the wetlands and the construction area. We've been very consistent on that for years in terms of projects. I just don't think that silt fence is as efficient. But I just want to clarify something. Now, were you talking about a wood chip berm in addition to the silt fence?
yes,
And where would that be located?
that's on sheet 2, showed a detail of that placement, and I did not bring sheet 2 with me tonight.
No, it's right here. It's right here.
Oh, there you go. Let's see where, I thought it was to the upper right there.
So the slope comes down, wood chip berm, and then
The silt
and then the
fence.
silt fence.
Okay. All right, no, because again, that should also work as well. So.
Yeah, we've had some luck with those. We've used those on some other lots where we had some problems with like a very steep slope. Because sometimes the straw wattle at a steep slope, the water may actually jump over it.
Yeah.
So we've done a few of these berms and they seem to work pretty well. You
I
know,
didn't
it
think
actually,
the slope was that bad over here, so I didn't think you'd have a really heavy flow. Unless somewhere it gets channelized and that it creates a little bit of a problem, but. I mean, this is another, I think, a viable way of doing it too.
Mhm.
Okay.
To your concern with water flowing down to Route 10, there's actually a berm between the where the pipe is. There's like a swale that runs parallel to Route 10 with a berm that's a couple feet high between that swale and Route 10, Waterville Road.
yeah, I think I have a photos. Yeah, I don't know if I got a good photo, but it looks something. Yeah, see the road is up here. So it does come down. There's a very well defined
Yeah,
ditch.
there's, in the wetland report, some of their discussion at the toward the end of the report was about that specific wet area. And there's a nice picture showing it. It's oh gosh, it's probably like a 8-10 foot wide area at the
So what are you looking for? Here's the pictures here on the
it's
screen.
toward the end of the report, Bruce.
You just say when.
Keep going.
Chair, if I can just ask,
Right,
because I
It might have
noticed
been-
that when they brought up the wood chip berm, how wide is that wood chip? I noticed you're only putting it in 3 inches tall.
it's
If we're
2 feet
worried about
tall.
it going
Feet tall,
over a
Bobby.
straw wattle, 2 inches isn't a lot.
That's 2 feet.
It's 2 feet.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2 feet. Okay, thank you.
Bruce,
So
I think it's like the
typically,
second to last picture in that grouping.
I mean, I think typical standards on it, it would be about 4 feet wide.
Yeah, oh, no, that's fine. I saw 2 inches and I'm like, 2 inches is nothing.
I agree with that statement, but it's more than
Here's the
that.
here's the driveway crossing here. This looks like it's Route 10 over here, and this is the swale with the water backed up. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, my comment is really just, take a look at that, and if it needs to be cleaned up some, this would be the time to do it, just to clean it up, and
I see. Okay.
that's all I was really getting at.
Okay.
While the equipment's there, it makes it easier for everybody. Okay, I don't really have any other questions on this. So I guess the two things that we may need to do, or thing is how comments have been made that this was a buildable lot in the past, therefore pretty much allowed to go back in and do it. However, the two questions that remain is, one is, would somebody like to make a motion to accept the application? And the second question would be whether or not people want a site walk. So I'll go with the first one first. Would somebody care to make a motion to accept the application?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Second
it.
by asking.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to accept the application. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining.
Mr.
Site walk,
Chair,
yes or no, folks?
I had a couple more questions I thought of. So at the inlet for the pipe that crosses Route 10, do we know like what's the condition of that inlet area, and should it need some repair with like an apron or something to make sure the pipe flow is good?
I got one here. Where is it? I know I have it. Right there. That's the inlet right there. The inlet's right down in here.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, it is in there. Sorry.
So it needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah. So I would clean that area. And then, do we want to consider, a conservation easement, just maybe a little bit off the wetland line? Not for the two small ones, but
How about wetland 3?
yeah, about wetland 3. Would that be, worthwhile, you think?
Can you make it a little bigger, Bruce? I'm trying to see
Zoom
what
in or
the
zoom out?
contours are.
Zoom in,
on
you mean, or
wetland.
out like this?
No,
Oh, zoom in.
so
Okay.
probably zoom into like 150 or something. I'm just trying to get an idea what the contours are like down there. Yeah, so I guess what the elevations are up to the north then? Because I'm not seeing any elevations down there.
Heading
Oh.
to the east, they go up
Yeah.
gradient to the east,
Yep.
to the right of the screen.
Okay.
190 is 200.
It seems like there's a little bit of a steep drop off going down to the wetland line. So
Yeah.
I
if
wouldn't
you
be
look at here-
surprised if there was you know, the previous development, maybe they were widening out the lot a little bit and
Pretty
But-
well wooded. I mean, here's an example. This is the actual, that wetland 3. This is as it
Yeah.
flows down towards, this is flowing west towards Route 10 here.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, same thing. And
When you look at it like on the map view, think like the hybrid map view, you can definitely see the clearing where the previous building was. And I'm a question. So what happens if they're excavating and for the new house and they come across or start digging up the previous leach fields? Is there anything special they have to do with that, or are they like they can address that? Say if there's a previous leach field where they wanted to put the house, they can remove the leach field, or is there any kind of regulations that makes you keep leach
There-
fields in place?
The Department of Health has regulations. When you come across that, I know when we get into it, when we do septic repair designs,
Mm-hmm.
in this particular instance, we're moving the house up gradient about, I don't know, if I had to guess, close to 10 feet. I don't think I wouldn't expect to see leaching trenches over that way.
Yeah, because they're moving up.
Yeah. I expect the leaching trenches to be more in front of the old house in some of that large cleared area. But again, I don't know. I don't remember the house at all.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to make us aware of that the possibility that we could be coming across an old leach field or something.
So I'll bring it back up with our office and be able to have some discussion, should more discussion be had about
Okay.
that.
Thank
But
you.
again, Ned, with what you were also talking about was a potential conservation easement around wetland 3. I mean, that may be something that folks want to think a little bit more about.
Yeah, that's a suggestion at this point.
Yeah, Bruce brought that up and we talked to our client and he's open to further discussion in that regard.
Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you. I appreciate that information. So I'll go back to the question I had hanging on the floor. Do people want a site visit on this, or do you think it's not necessary? Yeah, I don't particularly think it's necessary.
I could go either way because I mean, the use is not changing. It's just, and the house is being put in a better spot. It looks like in the septic system. And so, I mean, I would go if we had one, but I don't see a strong need.
I'm out of state next weekend. I think Dave Fox raised a really good point about, the time of year that the assessment of the 2 smaller wetland pockets was done, aside from seeing that firsthand, during a wetter season. But as I said, I'm out of town, so I'm not gonna suggest we do a site walk.
Well, as far as investigating those 2 little wetland areas, I can tell you by the noise coming from my backyard and the wetlands in my backyard, the frogs are out. So this would probably be a good time, and the weather's supposed to be hitting, I think, 2 or 3 days next week in the 70s. So the critters are going to be around and moving. So maybe advisable just to have somebody go out and take a quick look at them just to verify.
I think the wetland scientists documented what they saw on the visits that they had. There was a visit in 2014, 2015, and 2020. The 2021 was in October, but I know the other ones, I know 2015 was in April. And I don't remember the time of the 14, but it's in the report. If you want to leaf through that, that might help you.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to get close to about 10 years old. So I mean, just a quick refresher. Like you say, they're not that big of an area, so I think just a quick check is probably not going to be that burdensome. So I think that's something that I think folks here would like to just at least have a
Yeah.
better understanding of.
I would agree. I think it's not a lot of effort, and it would be good information just to double check. Because, I know a lot of the water levels are high right now. And if there is anything there, then now would be the time we would find it. Or the soil scientist would find it.
So I think you have a pretty good idea of where we stand on this. Cannot do anything with the application at this meeting. So this would be up for what, is it April 19th? Is that the next meeting date?
Oh, yes, I think so. Tell you right now.
April 19th?
Yes, yes, sir. Yep,
All right.
19th.
But and so I'm not really getting a lot of feedback in terms of people really feel as though we need to go and see the site. I mean, I tend to agree.
Yeah, this is Mark. I would say no need for a site visit.
Okay. All right, so I think we'll probably just go with that we do not need a site visit on this one. Again, it was a building lot in the past, just trying to recreate a new house on it, and it's a little further away from the wetlands, so that's a good thing.
Can we just formalize the request that for the April 19th meeting, that a check be done for a vernal pool at sites 1 and 2?
I
Wetland
would
mark.
strongly suggest it.
Okay, I would feel better voting on it with that information.
Understood. So that's
Well,
up to the applicant as to whether they will or will not do it.
as far as sites 1 and 2, they got into a lot of detailed discussion about how they felt that the type of wetland being very shallow, that it was not conducive to a vernal pool. I'll review the report in detail again, but and I'll give a call over to the office of the soil scientists to see if they've got something they want to add
Okay.
to help make you
Okay.
feel more comfortable with in making the decision about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Ned, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're really referring to 1 and 2, not so much 3.
Yes.
Because again, if the woodland area is being maintained out there, I don't think we're as concerned about area 3. 1 and 2 happen to be pretty close to the house, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Understood.
okay. Any commission members have anything else they want to bring up at this time, or are you pretty much done with this application for the evening? So it sounds like we're pretty much done with it for the evening. So I thank you for your time on this.
All right. Thank you for your attention, and we'll be seeing you again soon.
Yep, hopefully on the 19th.
Yep. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Good night, guys.
Good
Night.
night. 9 Apple Tree Lane is next.
I received an email from Mr. Logan earlier today indicating he will not be able to attend the meeting. He has a conflict and he has not had a chance to finish the overlay that we had asked for. So he is still working on that.
Just out of curiosity, how much earlier today?
Actually believe I was gonna say early in the morning, probably
Okay.
around 9 o'clock
Okay.
or so.
Just asking.
All right. If you're all set, I do have a couple things under the planner's report, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, Bruce, real quick, while
Yep.
we're on Apple Tree Lane, it's been on my mind for the past couple of weeks. And I'm still having a problem with it. And what the engineer or architect said last time didn't sit very well with me. And I'm just wondering what your opinions are. Basically, he said that putting in more mature trees wasn't cost conducive. It would make the project too expensive. In my opinion, I don't think this should be a cost issue. He already destroyed the wetlands by filling it in. Having him pull that soil out, I think isn't going to do any good. But on the same side, why should we not be penalizing him by saying, well, the trees are too expensive, so you don't have to put them in? You know, I'm of the feeling of we should come up with what we feel would look good and what we feel would enhance the property to our likings. And then he made the mistake, he's going to have to deal with it. Opinions?
I hear you. I raised the question at the last time, saying I'm just having a hard time with everything that was cleared out to just, you know, put a couple of shrubs here and a couple of trees there and call it a day. I mean, I'm having a problem with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I understand trying to get it back, but let's face it, we're never going to get it back to what it was. So having him go in and rip up 6 inches of topsoil, to me, is kind of counterproductive also. But the cost of the tree shouldn't be a factor either.
Yeah,
Understood.
I agree. And I've been thinking about this one a lot over the last couple months too. I mean, yeah, he basically disregarded the direction that we gave him, right? And clear cut not only his property, but he infringed on his neighbor's property as well. And I don't have a lot of sympathy for a privacy buffer to replace what he took down. I'd actually like to see it restored as an apple orchard. I don't know how much those cost, but let's try to get something back in there that gives us some benefit to the environment.
Well, you know, Bobby, you raised the question about cost. How much does this buffer cost? And could that money be put to better use to restoring the property? You know,
Well,
not so much
right.
having a privacy screen.
I don't have a problem with that. You know, the way the architect came across it, he says, well, we didn't put in bigger trees because it's not cost conducive. That's not my problem anymore. You made the mistake.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. We don't want to be rewarding the non-compliance, and I don't want to get too deep into the finances of the project, but it would appear that he cleared the land to put in a pool, which is not a cheap proposal. So, you know, we're looking at restitution, you know, maybe the money that he was going to use to put the pool in has to go to restoring the wetlands that he, you know, took apart, or he'll figure out how to finance the project so that he can, you know, take care of the wrongs of clear cutting his property, encroaching onto his neighbor's property, encroaching into the wetlands. It was a pretty, you know, pretty aggressive and abrasive, you know, undertaking that he made.
But also don't forget the garage that was originally proposed as well as the pool.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Which we had originally told him not to do. And then he came back and said, all right, never mind, I won't. And then he did it anyway. It was a slap in the face.
Yeah, so I think that we have to be satisfied with the plantings and the restoration. You know, I think we're all sensitive to, you know, what things cost, but there was a lot of wrong that was done on this property, and there has to be some restitution made.
Agreed.
And I think that once they give you guys the overlay of the existing and what was done afterwards, I think that'll help us determine how much of an area of restoration compared to what actually was disturbed.
Hey, and Bruce, how's the dialogue going with the neighbor? Because I know there was a plan to do a land swap, and since we approached on her property.
Yep, I took that under. I had called her up. Her and I have been playing phone tag. So once I get a hold of her, definitely wanted to discuss the status of the land swap as well as discuss the restoration plan as well. So.
Okay, thanks. Because, you know, again, it's not just the wetlands, but it was encroaching and disturbing a neighbor's property. It's, you know,
exactly. Yep.
No,
agreed.
That was pretty aggressive.
If I could just add one other thing too, I don't have a lot of sympathy for these delays, and I don't know what's causing it, but our last meeting was 3 weeks ago, right? Because there were 5 Wednesdays, I think, in March. They've had ample time to do an overlay, which I didn't think was that big of an undertaking. And now we're into another growing season, and time keeps slipping by. And there's delays in the fall and going into the winter when we were facing storms and everything. So I'd like to see some action taken on this, and let's get it done. And that's not on us; it's on the property owner.
No, we've got a meeting in 2 weeks. Let me grab the calendar here. Let's see, we've got the meeting on the 19th. I'm gonna be away Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. But if I can get, we want me to have him get us a map before the 12th. That way you guys at least have time. I don't want you guys having to look at the map fresh during the meeting. Maybe if we get him to get us a map by the 12th, you guys at least have some time to study it yourself, instead of it being sprung on. That may help you guys with getting more comments and questions during the meeting.
Yeah, that would be helpful, Bruce.
All right. I'll do that.
I'm not sure it's gonna help me, Bruce, because I think I'm gonna be down in South Carolina the 11th through the 18th, or coming
Hey.
back the morning of the 18th.
Hey, so am I. I'll stop by and say hi.
Works for me. I was supposed to leave yesterday, but you can see I'm still here.
I thought so. I remember you said that you weren't going to be here, possibly. So,
No,
right.
My part-time work didn't allow for it. But I'm going down next Tuesday.
okay.
But I mean, I've got access to a laptop down there, so I still
Mhm.
should be able to get access to it and take a look at it.
Again, and like I said, just giving people, I think that helps. That should hopefully help out the commissioners a little bit by getting an advanced look at it.
Yes.
Being sprung on the night of the meeting, you guys are trying to figure out which way's north and which way's south on half the time, trying to figure out the plan and stuff. So.
So, but it's an effective way to delay it for another 2 weeks.
Exactly. No, I thought the same thing when he said that. I'm like, here we go. We're getting into the growing season. He already said they don't want to grow the woody material until the fall, So,
Well, then good. We'll let them grow more wood so he can put more wood in.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So are people pretty well set on this right now? I mean, I think everybody's pretty much on the same page. At least that's how it's sounding.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up is planners report. Bruce, you said you had a couple of
Yeah, I
things?
got a couple items that popped up just recently. So I said, I wanted to get your guidance on this as the commission. Met with the Tungus hose, and we chatted about the carnival. All right. So over the years, as you guys know, the fireworks, they shoot off from down in this very little corner here by the fence. Well, the regulations indicate they have to have 20 or 25 foot separation distance between where they shoot and any kind of obstructions. So we went out there the other day, and let me grab this here. And there's some trees that they'd like to cut. You see these photos?
No,
No,
No, we're looking at the map.
we're looking at the map
All
still.
right. I guess I gotta do my new share, huh? How's that? You got them now?
Yep.
Still,
Yeah.
There
All
we
right,
go.
let me zoom out a little bit here. So this is the fence line that you see in the GIS. Here's the fence, and then the river is down in here. So these areas are probably like within 130, 140 feet, the upland review at this fence. But there is a lot of barberry and invasives that have crawled into this fence, as well as going up some of these trees. So they're not looking to cut anything big, but this tree here, it's like a 4-inch, it's being pulled practically over. There's a few other ones. There's this one here. This is actually leaning over. And again, they're all probably 4 to 6 inches at the most. And I'll be honest with you, they're nothing specimen wise. There's nothing big at all, you know, it's just mainly a lot of invasives and trees that are just not doing very well at all. So I think it's like 3 or 4 small trees and then clearing out these invasives. So I thought I'd just get it off, bounce it off you guys to see if you had any concerns with it, if you want them to come in or what.
I mean, it's still pretty far from the river, Bruce. I'm comfortable if you just, work with them on the minimal clearing. As you said, it's mostly invasive species that they're clearing out that's beneficial anyways. And unless they're clear cutting and getting close to the river, I don't have any concerns. They're actually creating some new habitat if they remove some of the trees and underbrush.
Perfect.
Bruce, the question I have is what are they gonna do with the debris?
They're cutting everything at the stump and they're gonna pull it out, you know?
Okay,
So they're gonna throw it into a chipper truck and then off it goes. They're gonna do some handwork along. There's along the fencing here.
yeah,
They're gonna clean this all up by hand. All right. Just to get this, because that's kind of, this is all, I think they actually shoot right from this spot. So a lot of this stuff is starting to overhang their tubes and stuff.
Good luck with the poison ivy.
So I asked them if they had some volunteers with some gloves and some shears just to get in there by hand, because it's not going to be easy. It's really getting in there really tight. So
Yeah, there's no big equipment going in there.
nope, everything they're going to do from this from the field side of the fence.
Okay.
They got a bucket, they'll just reach over, grab it, cut it, and that's it. So
Looks like mostly maintenance work to me.
yeah.
perfect. If we're all set with this one, if there's no more
That sounds like
Questions?
we're okay with it.
all right.
You just need to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I did. We walked it. I actually marked them with actually ribbon, because I always said, listen, what I think is being done and what you think is being done are 2 different things. So I made sure we walked it and tied them all up.
Okay,
The other option, and this is nothing really for a vote. I mean, this is just for, I want to gauge with the commission. So for future use, I've got a call from someone on Pequabic Lane. I'm meeting with them tomorrow. So first thing in the morning. So down in here at 12 Pequabic, there's this wetland. There's a large wetland in here. It all flows down, goes underneath the Pequabic Lane, comes out, and then flows right down to the Pequabic. Owner called me. They want to clean this up. There's some invasives in here. So I don't know the extent of what they want to clean, but I guess I wanted to gauge from the commission if someone like of this stature wants to come in there and do some maintenance work, and they're working with a landscaper. Is this something we want to come in with the commission for an application, or is this something we feel that staff can just review with them as long as they're working with someone to clear out the invasives only? So I kind of wanted to gauge your feeling on how to proceed with something like this.
And Bruce, the area that they're working on, is it actually in the wetland itself, or is it all buffer
Yes.
area?
Well, he first mentioned that there's a lot of invasives that are growing. There's a wall here, okay? There's a retaining wall, and it's growing up over onto his lawn. So he wanted to first clear what's going into his yard. Then he mentioned about going inside and possibly going in there just on some unsightly. There's a lot of invasives pulling stuff down. So he said he would like to go in there and clear it out. Again, I don't know what it is yet. I haven't gone out there. I'm going to see him first thing in the morning. I definitely can report back to the commission, but like I said, if it's just strictly, if it's very clear that it's all invasives or whatever's are invasives, and they work with a landscaper who works with staff who go and they go in there by hand, as long as they're not using any kind of chemicals or something. Just want to kind of get a gauge from the commission on what they feel they'd like to see, either an application or just go like just go through staff. Or I could just update everybody on the planners reports and things like that.
It seems okay, as long as they're working on it from the top of the wall down, or they're only by hand below the wall. I know sometimes they'll put those trimmers on the arm and stuff and go down a little bit, but as long as no equipment is entering into on the other side of the wall that he's got there, I don't know. I don't think it's that. It's just kind of maintenance, as he said. It is creeping into his yard,
Mhm.
so he has some. I think should have some right to clear that off.
Yeah, because I haven't had an
Yes, Bruce.
application like this from a homeowner since I've been on the commission, so I just wanted to make sure just to see how we'd like to proceed with things like these.
Yeah, I agree with
Bruce, this is
sort of
Mark.
yeah, go ahead.
I believe this is something, as Ned is saying, if it's coming over the wall, it's coming in his yard and everything, that's something that needs to be maintained. And if they go in and pretty much, it sounds like he wants to do the same thing we've been allowing the people who do along the Farmington River, to come in there and clear out invasives and, to cut them back. Instead, as long as they don't bring equipment in there and, do a lot of damage or anything, just cut those little guys to make them die. I don't see this any different than what we do already approved with the Farmington River. That's
Yeah,
all.
I agree with Ned and Mark that if it's maintenance of the residential property and it's all handwork, then I think, Bruce, you can guide the project as need be. If they're looking at, changing grade lines or bringing in heavy equipment, putting in any kind of structures, then I think we would need to have a better proposal and see if it's a full application.
I just don't want to see an application come in for a 4-car garage over there. Just saying.
Or an application
Or
for a
3
violation,
3-car garage, no.
or if they have an application for a violation, then that's all bets are off. We're going back to full applications for everybody.
I
Well,
see a
looks
pool
like they have
over
a
there. I
pool
just want to
already,
make sure
so-
there's no gazebo going in.
And one last thing, we met with the developers for South Road, the affordable apartments, the mixed use of, or not mixed use, but the mixture of affordable and market rate apartments. If you remember, late last year, we had they had the application. Give me a sec. There we go. Over here. Over.
Yeah.
Over
Just a
over
little
by the firehouse here.
Yeah.
So we walked in there. They're getting very close to possibly getting their financing. So they want to get a jump start. So we met with the developers. We met with the soil scientist, Megan Raymond from SLR, and we met with the contractor. So just so you guys know, if you go by there, probably in the next 3 to 5 weeks, they're going to be going in there and they're going to start clearing out the wetlands of all the invasives. So we walked it with Megan. She's going to have either herself or one of her wetland scientists from their office will be out there, and they're going to be working right alongside the contractor. So they're going to be flagging up all the invasives that have to be removed and working with them on that. So because I had some concerns, I didn't want them just going in there because, as you guys know, 1 minute it's an invasive, next thing you go out there, it's all gone. Well, that was dead. This was dead. So they're going to be working with them on that. There's going to be a mixture. We talked about leaving. They wanted to clear out some of the dead logs, and we said no. Megan agreed. They'll leave the logs that are on the ground. The larger ones will stay because those probably have some habitat inside them. So this is more or less just going because there's a lot of bittersweet, multiflora rose, honeysuckle. So they'll be clearing out a bunch of that as we go through. So just in case someone drives by and sees them working in there, that's what they're doing.
This also might be a good time to actually work in that wetland area that they need to restore for the pipes.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the contractor on board for that yet. This is
Okay.
strictly a landscaper at this point.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that and they said, yeah, they would address that as time goes. So I think they just want to get in there before a lot of this stuff starts to leaf out, and then it gets hard to get in and out of there.
I mean, they have the approval from us. They got approval from planning and zoning too.
Yep, they did. They got both approvals. they had to get their application into CHFA by the end of the year, so that's why that was the big push.
Yeah.
So they're hopefully gonna hear, I think they said very, very soon, and they were talking about possibly construction. If everything goes well, they'll probably be starting construction sometime in July.
Okay, yeah, because if they're gonna start doing a lot of heavy stuff, they may need to go in and put in some of the perimeter erosion control too.
Yes, definitely. Right now, it's everything is we confirmed everything's by hand. They're walking in by hand, we're walking out by hand. We said, all right. So.
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
I had a question on a past application. The one on Twin Ponds Drive on the corner of Twin Ponds and Copper Mine.
Mhm.
Did they change that house at all? I mean, it's that lower area, it seemed, I don't remember it being that large.
The lower area.
They're like where the garage is, because I remember seeing the garage on the plan, but then they built adjacent to the garage off the back, like another whole family room types, it looked like.
Well,
And
there's
I
a
don't remember-
garage. Yeah, there's a garage. I mean,
Yeah,
the
no,
house-
but
the house is
behind
here,
the, yeah,
and there's a large, and then the garage is here with the driveway that comes off to the side.
yeah. Actually, if you, Bing Maps, I was looking at the other day, has it shows the foundation. The reason I'm asking is I remember that garage being there down at the grade, but I don't remember a room behind the garage, and it goes further out into the backyard.
I thought it was above. I thought it was above.
Yeah, I thought-
there's like a
I thought-
bonus room above it. There's a bonus room above it. You
No,
know?
they built the room behind it. I was trying to
No,
find that.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I had when that was going when that came in, I reviewed that against the existing plans when we did our site walk, and everything and everything matched up. you
Okay.
know? I don't think they stuck a room on there. Hopefully, after we left, but I think what happened is maybe what you may be a little confused on is that the house was a modular house, so they brought the house in.
Yeah. Yes.
And then they went back and they stick framed and built the
The
garage
garage. Yeah.
after the fact. So
Yeah. Because I remember the garage, and I remember stuff over the garage, but then there's the definite room behind the garage. And I didn't remember that.
all right, I'll double
But-
check.
Okay. Thank you.
So I have a couple questions too. 167 over by Camp Happy Hill. There was a lot of
Oh.
clear cutting. I don't remember that ever coming before us.
State.
And maybe it did, years
No.
ago before I
Yeah.
was on the committee, but
No, it's a state project.
okay, so they don't have to come to us?
Exactly what they're doing. Yeah, that is all driveway. Give me a second here. This is it right here, right? Where is it?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. So this.
Yeah, they're doing
now-
culvert work, I
Yeah,
guess.
this whole water comes from Farmington Woods, and this pipe is underside. So all of this with the state water is just causing this to back up, and this actually floods, and it floods a good part of this guy's yard. So as
Okay.
part of this, they're ripping out the driveway, increasing the pipe crossing, and working on the state drainage as well. So
Okay, so that's a good segue to my second question, which is Batterson Park, right? If that becomes effectively owned by the state as a state park, are we out of the picture in terms of, being consulted and approving or shaping that?
technically at that point, yes.
Okay,
So
okay. And then just another question, and Dave and I mentioned this yesterday. I saw him outside the Y. Along the bike trail, just between the two bridges, right on going up towards Brickyard, that big development that's going in by the Midas and everything.
Yep.
There's been a lot of work going on in there. I don't
Yes.
see a lot of silt fencing. I'm not sure what we approved or, where they are in that, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Are they
We were out
following
there.
what we
Yeah.
told them to?
yeah, we were out there. We worked with them. They've got this area cleared out here.
Yeah.
Okay, We've walked it. There's no, where they are, nothing really pitches towards the river. They're in like a low spot in there, and there's a water quality basin in here. So we've walked this, and that was our biggest thing. I drove by, I said, what's going on? We went in there, we met with the developer, we walked it. There is nothing to be concerned of at this point.
Okay.
I go on that bike trail a lot, and you're getting a little bit close to the river at this point.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. I know the
And there's a lot
the
of-
water quality basin is here, and I think they went into here. So
Yeah, there's a couple of trees that were cut down just south of the last embankment.
yeah, I think they did some trees here. What they're getting ready to do is they're getting ready to lower this bike trail here. So they have a few legal items they're working on for easements, things like that. But once all this,
There's a lot of earthwork going on.
yeah,
There's-
like I said, they've cleared
stockpiling
here.
Topsoil.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
cleared here and stripped it. So they're right here. But like I said, once they get finalized the sale and they get everything at least they want to jump on this bike trail now and get that thing lowered.
Ruined. They want to ruin the bike trail.
They're going.
I'm
to-
gonna,
are
I'm
they
gonna
going
Got
to
get-
do
about a
that in
10-foot
summer?
drop.
I'm gonna get my signs out. I'm gonna put up signs. They save the rails, the trails, stop the big dig.
Add Maria Road to the sign.
Oh, and Bruce, I had another observation for my bike. The single family house on River Road, off of River Road, that private drive.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
They've done a vegetation removal on it.
Oh,
and
she
it looks like-
did.
And it looks like they're starting some earthwork there too.
Oh, come on.
There's no
Yeah, I talked to her
fencing.
I talked to her early this week. She wanted to submit for a permit, for a building permit. I said, you can start the building permit process. I said, don't really clear anything until we're ready and we discuss it. So I didn't realize they had already cleared
Yeah, they cleared and actually pretty close to the trail.
back
And
here.
it looks like they're doing some earthwork there too.
Oh,
The
come
the
on.
road though the
right.
driveway is quite an embankment, so it's probably not a big deal. Because
Okay.
it's like about I don't know, at least a 2 or 3 foot difference. It's a lot lower on the lot than it is on the road. So nothing's gonna get to the river, but I think
Okay.
we required them to put controls along.
Yeah,
the
definitely. I'll add that. I'll add that on my list. I'll
Okay.
swing out there.
So I think what you're hearing, Bruce, is you've got a lot of eyes and ears out there, and we're trying to, I'll call it the apple tree effect.
No, listen, guys, I cannot be everywhere. That's what I tell everyone. Look, I wish I could be everywhere, but I can't. And lately we spend more time sitting at our desks working on projects than we do getting out anymore. So we definitely will stop out there and take a look at that. Matter of fact, I was just working on the building permit for this lot before the meeting. Wanting to get the conservation easement filed, all that work ready before we issue any kind of building permit.
Bruce, just real quick, you said that they're lowering the bike trail over,
Yes.
so are they getting rid of Big Bird Bridge too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I guess you weren't in at that point. What they're doing is you've got the bridge, you got the Big Bird Bridge here, and then you've got the Trestle Bridge here. The intention is to lower this point to a low point and then come back up to here.
Oh, and then they're gonna come back.
And the
up.
intention
Okay.
would be that they're gonna put a trail here, run it along here, take people back out to Farmington Avenue, which in the ultimate scheme, they have their portion of the bike trail here. So this will be extended to make the connection in front of Toro Loco.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay. And then by
How
doing
far-
that, and then by lowering this, it then allows people to access the ball fields here. So technically, you can come there, you can come from the Highlands, or you can come from New Britain and Roma Drive area and get to your baseball game or whatever. You don't have to worry about driving your car.
After you
Gotcha.
crash to your death going down the steep grade.
Isn't it about a 10-foot elevation difference they're talking about, or was it a little bit more than that?
I don't remember the exact ele, but I know it was like a 5% grade.
I thought they were talking, if I remember correctly, I thought it was at least about a 10-foot
Yeah,
elevation change.
Yeah.
that they're talking
probably
about.
probably about halfway what's there now. So maybe let's say 10, maybe.
And then the town's gonna get sued when everybody starts killing themselves on the bike trail.
No, because they're gonna have marshmallow runoffs.
You guys had to get Ned all cranked up, didn't you?
Telling you,
Those,
there's gonna be problems.
those truck runoffs like on Avon Mountain.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
just gonna
runaway
put
truck-
marshmallows
yeah,
in
right.
for the bicyclists.
Runaway bike ramps. I'll be the first one to tell you I told you so.
You would not do that, Ned.
Oh yeah, I would. Better yet, I'm gonna tell their attorneys that I told them so.
I don't know if Bruce was involved when we put the bridge across Route 6.
Yeah.
On the trail and we had the hump in Plainville. There was a lot of people that didn't like that hump in Plainville either. And people have learned to survive it. And that's got a big curve on one end of it too. I don't know
you
what the
mean-
grade on that is, but
Oh, you mean, well that you had to keep because that's the arch, right?
Yeah.
You talk about, that's that
Yeah.
arch, with that large.
yeah, but people were complaining that it's too steep and somebody's going to crash and they're not going to be able to get their bikes up it and all that stuff. And I haven't seen any problems with it. I don't know what the grade
This is
but
much steeper.
It all can't be, tell them it all can't be a half a percent slope. You got to have a little bit of exercise in there, So
Yep. Got to embrace the hills.
feel the burn, right? All right.
Just plan the
Alright.
trip accordingly, so you're going downhill most of the trip.
Mhm.
Be careful where you park your cars.
Yep.
Okay, moving on.
So is that the planners report, Bruce?
That's it, sir.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of March 15th, 2023 Inland Wetlands Commission meeting?
I'll
Going
motion.
once?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion on the floor to approve the Inland Wetland Commission minutes of March 15th, 2023. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining? Okay.
Mark, I'll abstain.
All right, so we'll close the wetland meeting at 8:17 and start the Conservation Commission meeting.
The
Nothing in called order, other business. Actually, one of the things, I guess, Ned, we are having a meeting tomorrow at 4:30 on land acquisition.
Of course we are, because I have another meeting.
So I think it's the first time we'll be meeting in about 8-9 months, maybe.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, so there must be something on the agenda of interest, but we'll keep people posted as to what's going on there. Planners report?
all I have with the planners report is that we're getting some information trickling in on the hazardous waste. So we'll have a report soon, hopefully, but just to kind of a gauge, there's been a little bit of drop in people. 2022, we had 484 people. In 2023, we had 306. So we shredded about the same amount, like 15,000 pounds. So they're in the process of putting together all of the weights of all the other stuff that was collected. So that'll be a little bit. So after we get that, I'll be able to report back.
Well, maybe it just means that people have finally cleared out their basements and garages.
Mhm.
Did you get more than 2 boxes shredded, Bob?
I had issues and was not able to make it.
Okay.
So the boxes are still in my car. As are the printers and everything else. So that was another planners report.
Yep.
So, next minutes, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of March 15th, 2023 for the Conservation Commission meeting?
So moved, Eisner.
A second?
Second,
Okay. Have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes of the March 15th, 2023 Conservation Commission meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining.
Mark again, I'll abstain.
Everybody, I guess, have a good evening. We'll see you. The next meeting is scheduled for the 19th.